press record, right?
God.
Otherwise, this is a very awkward start.
Can you imagine? I mean, it's going to be an awkward start because the first question is a tough question.
All right, just hit me.
I feel bad. Do you ever audit your friends?
Yes.
Or, okay. Or audit well, you have to, but audit your employees or your team members?
Yes.
I know. What is...
Is that the question?
Yeah.
That's it? I'm done?
Yeah, you're done. That's
Because if that's the question,
You're like, I don't have to get into this.
I'm golden.
What is auditing? Okay, from your perspective, I guess we'll go to the team. What is auditing your employees, or for a better word, team?
Team. I would much prefer to use the word team.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
The whole I versus we mentality that we recently had a conversation about. I believe saying team is inclusive of we, and it means we're all in it together.
Yeah.
Employees means, in my opinion, it's a lot of this is opinion based.
I already get it. It's like the hierarchy thing.
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
Yeah,
this is the boss.
I know I know under the technicality, yes, employee.
Yeah.
But stating it is I feel icky saying that.
Yeah.
I'd rather say team. Right?
It's like, the problem is that someone could use it offensively. Like, oh, you're just an employee.
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh.
Yeah, which I think is crap. I think
it's like people just take that.
I think if you have a good environment, a good culture, you're a team.
Yeah, for sure.
And I, biasly speaking, think we have a good team and good environment and good culture.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I audit the team. I mean, I have to.
So, what are some questions like when you, like what are you doing to get into the mind frame of like, all right, I'm gonna get real with myself and see what everyone's doing.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be good for people who are. There's people who are bad at that, who are bad at like really talking to someone and saying, hey, dude, you're doing this wrong or whatever it is.
All right. So I make it a point 3 times a year to have a one-on-one conversation with everybody. Mm-hmm. And it tends to start in the form of a text.
Yeah, okay.
On purpose.
Okay, I didn't even realize that. Tell me more.
So I will ask, what is something you like that we have done thus far this year?
Okay, it's ringing a bell.
Yeah, and why? Because you always have to ask the and why, because you could just get like, oh, I love that we worked on this doc, right? For example.
Yeah.
And it's like, cool, but why?
Right.
And I'll even say like, hey, looking for a more elongated answer on this. I'm looking for something with more substance, more detail. Like I will preface that what I essentially want. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell, and you've gotten this text before, like, and take, if you need to take a little time to respond, as long as you can do so by the end of the week. Like I'll give a timeline, give 3, 4, 5 days. I'm looking for a longer answer with more substance. Mm-hmm. No yes or no's. Just talk.
So, but what is that like? Are you looking for an answer, or are you just looking, like, are you looking for positives, or?
So I tend to ask, so I'll do
what
this
did you like, right?
three times a year, and I ask 3 questions. Mm-hmm. It's what up until this point in time, what have we done as a team that you like, why, elaborate, blah, blah, blah.
All right, wait there, hold on, what's going on? So do you have like preconceived notions of like, I'm talking to Dylan, I'm asking him what did he like, I think he's going to say this, or do you go into it blank?
I used to
The title of this is like interviewing my boss about what's wrong with
I used to have preconceived notions.
Yeah.
But I tend to get curveballs thrown at me. Like,
okay.
And also, I'm also going to just throw out there right now that I have never brought up anyone's answers
to anyone else? That's cool.
All right?
Yeah.
It is for me and that person. Now, have I used those answers in our next team meeting? Yes.
Exposed.
But it might be in a very minor way.
Uh-huh.
Or like someone brought up something with me one time, like how I was interacting with them, and I then used that to say like, hey, like, I got called out
Yeah.
I apologize for being a little
Yeah.
short with you guys the last few weeks.
Oh.
Because someone brought up the fact that I was a little distant for a few weeks.
Ooh, okay.
And
Was it me? It wasn't me. Was it me? It was me?
yeah, it was you.
Oh, wow.
But I brought it up to the team the next time, like, hey guys, I apologize. But up until this moment, no one realized that you were the one who called me out. And I needed that. Like, I needed that kick in the butt. And there was no problem with that. Like,
Yeah.
You just were like, bro, like, what's up?
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, well, my bad. You and I had a conversation. I
Wow.
explained to you why I was, because I had a reason. I wasn't trying to make an excuse of it, but there was a reason. And I was able to kind of talk it out and also, have someone who heard me, which was nice, and then kind of made an adjustment and moved on. But, like, those are the reasons why we have these tough conversations.
Yeah.
So, something positive, something
Okay.
good, because if we're heading in that direction, that's a good thing. Or maybe I get something surprised. I'm like, oh, was not ready for that to be the positive. Let's talk about that more, because that's a
Sure.
surprise.
Yeah.
That's an awesome thing. The other thing is, what have we done as a team that you just didn't like? Whether that was someone else.
Oh, I feel like that's where you'd get the most
Oh,
unexpected
100%.
answers.
Oh, my God.
You're like, Ryan doesn't like Dylan? Oh, I knew that.
Yeah, right?
Ryan's like, what?
No, that was years ago.
Yeah, we're good now.
And then the third is an idea or change,
That you want to see implemented?
or just talked about, or
Okay.
just
It's kind of you saying like, hey, I'm also giving you the opportunity to voice whatever you've been thinking about.
Yeah, like, is there an idea that you just like just lightly rattling in your head and you just don't know what to do with it?
Yeah. Can you imagine if we set up like a confessional camera for the team
Bro.
and put all that out on the internet?
Everything, right?
You're like, holy, how is this guy functioning right now?
no idea how, right? But yeah, the idea/change.
Yeah.
Like whether it's just, like I said, just an idea, it's a seed, if there's something there,
Okay.
or if it's like, no, like there needs to be a change here, and I know how to implement it, or I'm 90% there, or in my gut, I can tell you this is our change, right? So, and I've taken those answers and implemented them into team meetings, or I've sat on them for 2-3 days, a month, 2 months, and then had a follow-up conversation with that person to say, like, this isn't possible after diving into it, but this is. Or this seed, what if we just make an adjustment and go this way? Or, hey bro, that's a freaking good idea. This is how I'm digesting it.
You know what just came
Let's
to
move
mind?
forward.
Sorry, I don't want to cut you off. I want to audit you on the spot right now. All right, no, but just like,
All right.
hear me out. So
I don't have a choice. We're sitting here. I'm hearing you.
when we do team meetings,
Okay.
I'm going to say notoriously, start the conversation, and it's probably because you're breaking the ice. You're like, okay, I'm just going to start the conversation, and then you guys will kind of follow suit. I would challenge you to not be the first person to speak at every meeting, or at least the next one, because you, whether you know it or not, are directly influencing what they're going to say, what we're all going to say next, because we're listening to you. Well, I know this for me. I'm assuming everybody else, but we're listening to you, and then what we're thinking is like, ooh, maybe I don't bring that up, or okay, now that he said that, I'll bring it up, or things like that. You know what I mean? So I would say to you to just, whether you tell people or not, like, I'm not going to lead this. I just want you guys to talk, so you can get our unfiltered, biased thoughts and opinions on it.
Okay, deal.
That's tough, right? Like, but
Tough.
that'll be.
I did that on a post-production meeting that me,
Okay.
Brittany, Brian, and Ken had.
Tell me. Tell us. Tell thousands of people.
And it's because I don't edit. I don't
Okay.
edit, all right? I have not edited something in, as of this recording, we're talking like 14 months was the last time I edited something.
Kudos. That's cool.
And it was a big thing going into 2023 was like, Kevin's no longer editing. And even in 2022, I edited like 5 things.
Yeah.
So it was remarkably minimal. I was already, off that bandwagon 5 years ago. But every year it was like, I was editing 50 things, then 30, then 20, then I went to 5, let's say.
So what happened? You didn't like not being the first one to speak, or what was?
We had a log jam with post, because we had so many jobs come in that were post centric that we suddenly had a log jam. And it was in October. It was leading into November, which is Thanksgiving week off. We take the whole week off. We shut down shop. Everyone does a mini recharge before they come back for 3 weeks. Hot and heavy, all hands on deck. We're all putting in plenty of hours those last 3 weeks, as you know.
Yeah.
All of us. No time off is authorized, because then we take 2 weeks off. We shut down for Christmas.
Was it 2 or 3?
2 and a half.
Oh,
two and a
wow,
half.
it felt
It's
like 3, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it comes out to like 17 days.
Okay.
So, but in October, I could see our logjam. I saw it. I saw like, oh, this is due then, but this is also due the next day, which that doesn't have enough time. And then this is due.
You're like, guys, what's going on here?
So I brought all of them on.
Okay.
And I point blank said, because I'm calling, I'm asking for this phone call. I'm sending a text to, Ken, hey, do you have 30 minutes in between editing? Ryan had just finished a job like 2 hours early, and Brittany was at the office. I'm in the field, but we're rained out on this job, so I'm on my laptop just hanging out while we're literally waiting for the rain to subside so we can keep shooting.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna get some extra work done rather than just like sit here randomly. Like I'd already kind of talked to people, and you can only talk so much, and then you're just like, yeah. So I was like looking at this, and I was kind of funneling in my head that like 2 days earlier, and like I was like, how do I resolve this? But I don't really know how to resolve it because I'm not an editor, and I don't know. Like sometimes I can get timelines wrong. Like I think this should take 3 days, but in reality it takes 4. And sometimes I think this is going to take 4, but it takes only 2. A lot of times I'm right because I've done it for so long, but I still can be wrong, like,
Right.
Of course. So I asked all of them. I was like, is everybody available like right now to talk? And then I told them what the issue was, and I was like, I need you guys to help me. I literally need the 3 of you to tell me what the resolution is, because this is the issue I see. It's a log jam going into Thanksgiving, which is going to cause a log jam coming out of Thanksgiving. We have also these other like 4 jobs that we're about to shoot between now and then. And these are the deadlines. These are the ones that are coming up that are due the first week of January, second week of January.
Right.
So we can't push too many things because we have other things that are already. The 3 of them just freaking take off.
Oh,
And-
were you like surprised? You're
No.
like, oh, okay.
I was not
okay.
surprised. It's what I
You're like, wow.
expected because Ken's our full-time editor. Ryan has done so much editing in his career, and Brittany's our assistant editor. So of course they are able to resolve it. But it was so nice just being like, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they would throw a question like, hey, Kevin, I see this on the contract. Does this one have any wiggle room? No. Hey, what about this one? Does this one have wiggle room? Yes, actually. Thank you for bringing that up. We actually do have a little wiggle room on this one because of XYZ reason.
Right.
Oh, all right. So that actually prompted me to then, while on the call, email the client and ask what our wiggle room officially was.
Okay.
Got 2 extra days.
Bonus. Great.
Cool. Now, I wasn't able, they didn't respond back that quickly. They actually responded the next morning. But I was like, okay, let's
Still pretty quick.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I was like, let's assume that this one has the wiggle room that I think that we have. And next thing you know, we're extending our timelines appropriately, met every deadline, to the point that this week, one edit's already gone out and another one, I wouldn't doubt if here in the next hour, I have it in my inbox to send to the client.
So what do you think, I'm auditing you real time right now, what do you think was better? Do you think when you led the team meetings to start was better, or did you think you got more out of that? Like, honestly, which one?
It's situational. Like, there's...
There's 2. There was the end of the year team meeting, and then there was we got a little kid on the...
You turned it
You
off?
turned your iPad off?
How about you go
Guys,
play with
this is okay. Just
how
watch
about you
the show.
go play with Legos or cars for another like 10, 15 minutes, right, my man?
20.
20.
Thank you, Connor. But like 2 real situations. There's that, the editing logjam situation, and then there's like
There's a difference though.
okay,
The editing logjam was it was an issue.
it's more topical. Like this was specifically going to talk about
Yeah.
this.
Otherwise, like sometimes the team meetings are just recaps. We do them once a month.
It's a
Everyone has to be on
wider
it.
conversation. Yeah.
So are you talking like are you talking like team meetings, like generic team meetings, or are you talking like the issue meetings, like when we have to have a call where it's like our marketing team talking?
Yeah.
Like you have to differentiate them for me. Which one?
I would be more interested in the team meetings because where there's like a real problem, it's like everyone's approach is different when there's a real problem.
Okay.
Everyone's coming into it like we're problem solving now. Let's figure out what this is.
Okay.
When it's a team meeting, you don't come into it like there's a problem. You come into it like we're brainstorming for the greater good.
Okay.
But you as a team leader need to hear everything we're going to say, which is why I would say don't speak first to not influence. Was there a situation where you've ever went into a wide meeting like that and didn't lead the conversation? No. Right. So then we can't even get to it. Okay. I would say, so this will be a topic we come back to in the future.
All right. So how about this?
You're like, team meeting tomorrow, guys.
So how about the next team meeting, I outline our talking points and say who wants to start. I do not believe in auditing the team once a year or twice a year. A lot of companies will do every December or even every January for like renewal. Personally, I think that's crap. I think you are allowing too much time to pass, and just think about your own your own life. How much changes in a 12-month span? Are you going to audit your team once a year? That's terrible.
I feel like my mind changes every week about something.
And I'm at the least amount should be twice a year. I believe in 3. And it's kind of that like every 4-ish months, right? Like you just,
Yeah.
And I just kind of find the right time. I just kind of know it's been 3.5/4 months, maybe even 4.5. And then I ask those questions.
Yeah.
And like I said, that will, I mean, I get long texts from everybody because I asked 3 relatively easy questions. However, I say I want detail, explanation, and hit me with everything you got. Yeah. And I get long answers, which then prompt a phone call after I digest it for a day. And those phone calls will be like 30 minutes. It'll just be like a little bit of a one-on-one. Like you and I have gone to coffee before, like the next day.
That's what I was going to say. Is I liked when you asked me the question, those questions before on like, what do you feel about this, that, and the third? Yeah. I didn't answer for you for like 2 days. And then you called me and you were like...
Oh, yeah, I do remember that.
But I liked that because it was like, you didn't. What I'm saying is you didn't call me the next day. You gave me plenty of time, like 48 hours to think about that is like great time. And then you called me and said, hey, man, you haven't answered me. Let's talk about it. And I also like get caught off guard a little bit. Yeah. Like I also liked having a more candid answer. Yeah. So... Yeah, I mean, I thought that was good.
I think, and the reason I did that is because, like, you didn't even give me a...
I don't think I responded even, at all.
Because everyone else was like, copy that, give me a day or two. Because everyone at this point knows that they're going to get that question from me, once or twice a year, or 3 times a year, whatever the case may be, right? So, that matters. And, but yeah, like, I got a beer with Ryan one time last year. I think we preemptively knew that we were finishing a job at like a very reasonable hour, and we're like, hey, let's go get a beer and we'll talk about these points and like dive into it a little further. And like, like something tangible. Everyone, who's watching this like wants something tangible, right? Yeah. Like he really was big on implementing like the storage and organization component on the server. That was one point that he brought up. That was like, I have an idea. I mostly know how to get there, but like, let's flush this out further. Yeah. So the server, where our server is stored, how the cloud service works, the organization method. A lot of that came from Ryan, right?
Wow, I didn't know that.
Ken, the folder structure, a lot of the folder structure component came from Ken because he brought that up 2 years ago, one of the meetings. You have brought up social media management and the amount of times we should be posting, which is always ever changing, and you bring that up a lot. But like
But we also like honed in where does it all go?
Yes.
Like, there's like, we have the frames and social tabs. This is inside baseball for people, but we had like a tab
specific
place where we could go to get very certain things, and then another place where we can get very specific things. And managing that worked out really well.
Brittany really helped with her, because, type A organization lady, she really helped organize Asana, which is the platform we use for note taking and project management. And she really helped like beef that up, but in a nice way, not just like to add. It was, hey, I'm going to add this because. So you get so much out of it. And then you also hear the negatives. I didn't really like this, and this is why. Oh, and, but it's not a negative that's like hindering, no one's not going to stop working here. They're still working here. There's, bringing up like, hey, I just didn't really like how the tangible story is. You just told me how I kind of vanished. I was around, but I just mentally wasn't around for a few weeks. And I just had to get called out on it. And like, no big deal. And we moved on, and and then I apologized to everybody and was like, sorry if everyone else has noticed this. We moved on.
I can't believe I'm the one who called you out.
Yeah.
I can't believe it, but I just
100%
when you were telling me someone called you out, I didn't think it was me.
It was, yeah.
Okay,
right,
so like, do you want to talk about auditing friends or AI?
I want to turn around and ask you an auditing question. If you're going to hit me with the team one, how do you audit friends?
Oh man.
You're about to do that to me, huh?
My friends don't know I audit them. Surprise. I mean, you might know, but generally my friends don't know I audit them.
I know when you audit
and it gets really tough. So I'll have like very specific questions of, do I think X friend is achieving his goals this year? Do I think he is active or lazy? Do I think they are healthy or unhealthy? Like, almost like a way to figure out my true opinion on my friends. So I'm not necessarily reaching out to them and saying, what do you think about yourself?
But you're noticing things.
Right.
You're talking to them.
The only way I feel like you can really know is if you spend the time to analyze it. And I don't think people like thinking, oh, this person's analyzing me. Like, it's weird, right? But it's important because I've always taken this point of view of like, I get one life. I get one chance at this world. And I don't want to have friends who aren't helping me in this life, you know what I mean? Or aren't there for me in the world. And I want to know that, like, Eduardo, he's going to pick up my call late at night when I got a flat tire and show up and help me and that sort of thing. So I would ask a question like that to myself. Will, person Y do this? And if the honest answer is, if it's I don't think so, it's a no.
You're attempting to ease the pain.
So, and I just get more brutal with it. But then I'll ask my friends to audit me. And that hurts because they give you the real reality check. So I'll start with like saying, hey, no holds barred. Tell me exactly what you think. And I'll give you a list of questions and then just answer those. And don't BS me about it. So like a couple years ago, I did like an audit on myself and was saying, how do you feel about me financially? And then everyone unanimously said the same thing. And they were like, dude, you get money, you burn money. You spend it, like you show up with new things and this and that. And I still do that to an extent, but it was bad before. And it was important for me because I asked friends who didn't even know each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, everybody thinks this about me. So then it forced me to look myself in the mirror, and say, how do you change this? So now this is a goal of mine this year. I'm like minimizing this or finding my happy balance of like, okay, I still get my, treats, like I get what I want, but it's not burning money.
We're adults and we can spend the money we make, but within reason. And you have to have investments, you have to have a portfolio of some sort, you have to have a nest egg, you need to be planning for the future, you need to, be doing all those things, and everybody does it at a different rate.
Yeah.
But you have to be doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it is.
You know what's really weird too is I've started using AI to do that.
Oh.
Which is like, obviously we all know AI like hallucinates a little bit and says some weird stuff, but if you know what to look for, you can kind of figure that out.
You can also hone it in.
Right. So I'll like be talking to chat. It's like so weird how
That's
I
your
talk to
best
chat. Yeah. I mean, like I literally just talk to it.
Yeah.
And
do I brush my teeth this morning?
I wish it knew stuff like that. And I'll ask it things. I'll tell it about myself. Like I have a thread where I tell it about myself, and then I'll ask it things about me and how it feels like I could perform better in a different area.
Huh.
And because it's using the world information, it's, if let's say I said, chat, I gained 20 pounds. I don't feel like I'm healthy, but I don't know where to start. I'm very casual about my health, lifestyle choices, whatever. What are some simple things I could do? And then it'll give me those. Or it's like, I haven't done this, but you could say, hey, let me tell you about my friend, whoever. I feel like I'm distant from them for some reason. Can you give me ideas of why that could be based off of the information I gave you?
Bro, I know chat's so useful and I'm using it left and right, but
it's like
never would I have thought to use that until now.
And it works great though.
Mind blown.
That's why I tell people don't understand what I say when I'm like, talk to it like a person. And they're like, okay, what does that mean? I'm like, literally turn on the voice function and just talk to it like it's a person.
So bizarre.
So yeah, I mean, that's for me, that's auditing like, this kind of a general of like me auditing myself and then auditing friends. And the friends thing is kind of a little more private thing because, like I said, you don't want, it's probably going to tarnish your friendship when you're like sitting in front of them real time auditing them. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, I'm gonna have to look into that. But yeah, I know we need to move on to the next topic, but I audit friends as well.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of that in 2023. A lot of that. I was not, I really spent 2023 like yes, no, yes, no, yes, no.
Mm-hmm.
And coming into this year, I'm like, I know who my peeps are, and I'm happy as shit with them.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. You get one shot at life, so you really.
Yep.
Some people will take that the wrong way, but it's kind of like you have to do that.
Yeah, and like because of that, you also start seeing like someone who is starting to be in your life. You're like, yes, I'm good with this.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's important. Auditing people when you like
hang out once or twice. Do a you're hanging out with them once or twice. You are
like, what are their red flags? What are their beige flags? What are their green flags?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, dude, and it's weird because been married coming up on 9 years now, and been together with Brittany for
don't get this wrong. It's on camera.
12, something to that effect, since we first started dating.
Yeah. Brittany, forgive him if he's wrong, but 12. You can come on and correct it.
Oh, my goodness. It's been 14. 14 years.
2 years, being off 2 years is a lot.
Yeah, well, math.
Okay. No, we're good.
But yeah, been together, dating, the whole kid and caboodle for coming up on 14 years, married for coming up on 9. Didn't realize I had to pay attention to red flags again after, that's where I'm going with all this. But you realize red flags with friends, right? Like, you're like, oh, it's not just dating red flags. Like it can just be personnel, peers red flags too.
Oh yeah. I've had people around me where like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why do you have this person around? And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess they are a psychopath. All right, so we're talking about sensitive stuff. Last topic. How do you feel about talking about politics and religion inside of business? My business, Mixed One Essentials, we talk about everything. Like, we piss each other off, but we're like, it's just, I don't know. It's not like, we're not like our business isn't like this business. So what do you think about it?
I sincerely wish I could talk more about that within our business and clientele and on sets. I really do, because I love some of the best information I've ever gotten is straight from an outsider, straight from a peer, an industry individual.
100%. You're right. Yeah.
And I wish I could do it more often. I've had I can specifically tell you, I can somewhat specifically tell you, because I also don't want anyone to, hear this and be like, oh, I know exactly who that was. I was on.
They will know.
I was on an overnight job.
Okay.
In
Which
Tampa,
one?
right?
Okay. Checking my calendar. I know which one we're talking about.
And politics came up in conversation at like 1 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Because
people are loose at 1 a.m.
That's the thing, right? Because we all woke up at a reasonable hour and then took a nap, and then our call time was like 6 p.m.
Okay.
Eating dinner at like
crackers and cheese, probably
1 a.m.
Yeah.
And we started talking politics, like just how the conversation, the ebb and flow got there, and it was such a great conversation.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say it went sideways.
Information, like, what about this? Oh, man, like, oh, And, like, people started, like, loosening up a little bit. Everyone's still a little guarded, but, loosening up.
Yeah.
One of the higher-ups.
Oh, it did go south.
Comes up and hears that, and it's like,
juicy.
Not on set. Not a conversation for set.
Wow.
Don't, like, hey, sorry, guys, I hate to be that guy, but, like...
You're like, all right, buzzkill.
Yeah, shut down. There was like 4 of us talking, so it wasn't like 50. It wasn't overbearing.
Was anyone the client?
Of the 4 of us? No.
Yeah.
Nope.
Was the client nearby?
Near-ish by. Yeah. When I say, if they were doing one of these,
earshot, but
they probably could be like, I'm hearing them, but like we weren't loud, we weren't argumentative. Like it was, when I tell you, it was legit a good conversation.
Yeah.
All 4 of us, like for the most part, were agreeing, so that also helped. But like there were some variations, and like, this party and this policy don't really like.
Yeah.
But like. For the most, but like let's say out of the 10 things that were said, we agreed on 7 of those 10. Mm-hmm. The other 3 we were definitely not agreeing, but it wasn't argumentative at all. Yeah. But it just sucked that Mr. Buzzkill shut it down for just a random conversation, by all accounts a random conversation that wasn't getting out of hand, that wasn't a problem, and it got shut down. And it was just like, and all 4 of us, like, it was one of those that all 4 of us just were like.
So you think it's acceptable then?
I think it can be, as long as you don't get into an argument.
Okay.
Like, you can disagree and not yell at the person.
Yeah.
You can disagree and still respect the person.
Yeah.
You can disagree and still value their input.
I haven't met any sane people who, like, disagree and yell at you.
Right. It's crazy how you can disagree on something and still get along with the person. It's mind-boggling concept, but here we are.
Yeah. I don't know if you would expect it, but my take would be that I don't think you should talk religion or politics with clients specifically.
I can see that.
Because it's like, you go back to the Michael Jordan thing, is like, Democrats and Republicans both buy sneakers. It's like,
Yep.
So you don't want to
Yep.
publicly pick a side.
Yep.
I feel really conflicted, because then at the same time, it's like every successful person you see on the internet talks about politics.
Yeah.
Like who doesn't?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But the client thing is where I would say, hey, social cues don't.
And I can think of a few clients that I feel like I could have a small conversation, but I'm gonna be very firm when I say small.
Yeah.
Like scratch the surface, minimal, and even then it's probably more politic-based conversation than religion-based.
Yeah.
Religion gets really weird with people. Really weird.
Yeah.
Like,
It does.
you and I have had some religious-based conversations, and they are freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And like, you cause talk about auditing friends, you have definitely hit me up with auditing questions 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, no doubt about it. And I know when you're doing it, and honestly, I freaking love it.
I'm game. Let's do this.
Let's do this. Like,
Yeah.
you hit me with a loaded question at 8 o'clock at night, and I'm like, all right, let's go.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in so quickly, I don't even, like, bat an eye. But you, like, again, like, you and I have had great religious-based conversations. I've learned so much from you, and also just been able to banter back and forth on some of the components and some of the changes you've made. My viewpoint for better part of my adult life, quite frankly, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I've had really good, like, political conversations with some other friends, and it's awesome.
Yeah. I always just like, my wife hates when I do it, but I love talking to strangers because that's like the safest place where you can talk about literally anything as long as they're game to talk to you.
Because you just go in separate directions and
you like some of the most impactful things that I've ever been told that have changed my life drastically were from strangers that I've never seen again.
Because they give you a viewpoint that is unique and uninterrupted.
Yeah. Versus like,
Yep, I can see that.
I mean, I know we're gonna wrap it up, but it's like what we talked about earlier. Is like if you lead a conversation with a team, you're
somehow you're influencing.
So same things with your friends. It's like you've had millions of conversations with your friends, so they already know. I'm just not gonna bring this up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But a stranger's like, sure. You want to talk about it? Let's
Do
go.
it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go home and sleep tonight. Like, I'm good.
And my wife's always like, why do you stop and talk to everyone for like 10 minutes? I'm like, I don't know. Just a good conversation.
10-minute conversation could be a year's worth of knowledge.
Yeah.
Just made that up, but it works.
That's great. That's a gem. That might be the title.
All right. Yeah. So, hey, if you're listening at this point, hit us up with a hard question. Let's see if we can answer it.
I know. And maybe come on the show.
Ooh, there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Another one in the books.
Another one. We'll be having some guests here soon. We got a few that we're looking at. We even have a nice little seat for them, and we're gonna go from there.
Cool.
All right, my dude.
All right. See you.